All right, welcome back to Problem Solver Politics. I am your host, Cardin Ellis, with Cody the Oracle.
Hey, everyone.
And today we got some good news for our friend of the show, Fred the Felon. He just had a big, huge GoFundMe to make his entire semi-truck be a big fat Yang announcement / commercial / rap. So, Cody, tell our audience what's going on. This is pretty dang awesome.
All right. Well, I guess the kind of simplest and shortest way to put it is that, again, friend of the show, Fred the Felon. For those of you who've seen the video with Andrew Yang where he's riding with a truck driver and they're going back and forth, and the truck driver says, "Oh, I used to follow Trump. I guess I'll follow you now." That is Fred the Felon. He's a trucker. Anyway, for Truckers for Yang, which is a kind of a lot of people interested in the automation AI movement infecting trucking as well, he has got together and he went to raise, I believe, $7,600. He found out it would cost to completely wrap his semi-truck, which is covered in like a giant sticker almost, for Andrew Yang campaign. So he raised that, and I believe it was, about 12 hours, I want to say, 10 hours.
He got $8,000 in 12 hours.
Yeah, a little over that. People are still donating as of time of recording. One thing that helped was that Andrew Yang himself did shout it out and say that he's wanted the giant Yang mobile for a while, and it looks like the Yang Gang truck may have beat him to it. And then just to kind of visualize what we're talking about here is this is a kind of rendering mock-up. This isn't necessarily what it will look like, but here's a kind of a rendering of it. And basically his plan, and this is one thing that's kind of fascinating, which is you don't think about it, but the amount of people that, especially the amount of other truck drivers that see your semi-truck when you're driving all the way across the country, because you guys are probably going generally the same direction, the same areas, and I believe he mentions it in there further down that he says, like, the amount of truck drivers you drive past in this, it's insane. I mean, it's like literally millions over the course of just a few months. Here we go. We want to do a floor up my trailer for Yang to reach 3.5 million truck drivers. And I think what we always talk about, what are some demographics Andrew Yang could do a better job breaking into? Well, dude, people whose jobs may be automated away, that's a pretty big demographic. And the reason why I wanted to bring that up, and this was actually something that trying to think, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago it came up and we just didn't really have do a video on it. I want to see if I can find it, but there was actually a small protest, I guess you could say, of truck drivers basically coming up to the city council and saying, look, no, here we go. There's I apologize, protest scheduled by truck drivers for October the 4th, which is, as of recording, less than a month from now. It says Billy Bogar says the protesting event 10-4 will take place in Washington, D.C. Over 100 trucks have been granted a permit to park on the National Mall to protest the self-driving. This is coming up, guys, in like a few weeks, right? I mean, like, this is why I think you see so many people get behind something like this. One, the Yang Gang always comes out, but two, they raise this money in a matter of hours, and I think it's because people who are following the Yang campaign closely know that, like, look, stuff like this is going to start happening more, and we're going to start seeing more and more issues with the fact that not even just truckers, just in general, and I think one thing that's important to kind of couch that, and it's not like these companies are evil for doing it, right? It's not like there's an evil force behind it. But if we kind of just turn the other cheek and, like, don't pay attention to all the people falling through the cracks as automation starts wheeling through, I mean, I don't know, man. I feel like we stand to see a lot more of this happen. And then I think it can start being a little bit immoral when we do nothing. The fact that it's happening is whatever. As long as we do something, I don't think it's too big of an issue.
Yeah. Now, also, just by virtue of the fact that we already have these protests scheduled, to me shows you are Cody the Oracle, but Andrew Yang had his own clairvoyance, shall I say, that's coming true. His prophecy is coming true about this being the fourth industrial revolution. Because what happened in our last industrial revolution? We literally had protests.
Riots.
We literally had riots. I mean, people don't realize this, but the term sabotage, the actual word sabotage, this is neither an Argentina nor a World War II reference, Cody. This is a 1700s reference, and you feel free to fact check me in real time. But to the best of my understanding, the etymology of the word sabotage actually comes from the Dutch word that basically meant to stick your wooden shoe inside of a machine to stop it from working. All right, there was actually people that would try and break the machines that were taking everybody's jobs and changing their society. And oh, there it is. Can you put that up there? A sabbat. Oh, I'm loving it. Yes. So the Dutch, who actually, were notorious for their wooden clogs, would shove these things inside of the machines in order to break them or to keep them from working or to sabotage the system. Therefore, the term sabotage actually comes from
Small
people.
picture, sorry.
Yeah. Well, do you have the picture that shows up when you Google it where it says sabbat? so people can see what it's actually called? I'm probably totally botching that. I'm putting a half anglicized, half.
Yeah, look, Sabat de Giel, Bridote, Sabat definition of meeting. No, yeah, they're Dutch wooden shoes.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So the word sabotage literally means to actually try and stop the machines from working. And that's actually what these people are doing if you interpret their protest that way, to stop the machines from working. Now, there was the Luddite movement that we actually had in the 1700s as well, to protest the Industrial Revolution. And they asked some very, very good questions. But now Luddite in the colloquial tongue actually means somebody who rejects technology. And I don't want to reject technology. I do not want to reject AI. If it can free up all these men to do something better and more awesome, yes, let's do it. Now, the studies show, just like Andrew says, that unfortunately our society doesn't cope very well with this. So we need a VAT tax and a UBI as a buffer and a bridge and so on and so forth. But I'm more in the Elon Musk camp, where I just say, hey, look, this is an inevitability. Okay. And sooner or later, when our work is not what we have most to give to society, we're going to have to ask ourselves the deeper questions of what is our society and what do we give to it when machines can work better than we can. So I don't necessarily support the protests in the sense that I would never want to protest better technology, but I do support the solutions that Andrew Yang is proposing, and this idea that we really need to take into consideration this large group of men and women who will all of a sudden find themselves unemployed. And if you don't think this is a reality, they do. They're protesting it. If you're Elizabeth Warren and says, oh, automation isn't going to be a big deal, I dare Elizabeth Warren to show up to that rally.
Well, hold on, too.
On October 4th and say, no, you guys are mistaken. This ain't going to happen.
Well, again, remember, look, it's 100 trucks that are going to be parked on the National Mall. It's going to be kind of thing that's hard to ignore, right?
Oh, yeah. Hey, should we get out there? Let's try and get out there.
DC?
I know. If we could fundraise for the tickets, we could make one heck of a mini documentary. We already hit Castaic, and we talked to all them truck drivers. We could go out there and make some serious.
Hey, I'd love to go.
Make some serious. So actually, we might have that happen. We just got to sell a lot of hats. Speaking of which, we got to unload the rest of these hats. We're going to do a video on that pretty soon. Anyway, I look at this and I think what Fred the Felon is doing is pretty awesome. I would like to see a picture of Andrew Yang just so people kind of recognize, like, oh, that's the guy from the debates. And I confess, I think this whole design, besides the picture, is missing one thing, Cody. And we saw it on a van on Twitter, and we were trying to figure out if it was a real or a photoshopped picture. Do you remember what this is?
I believe so. It's actually, well, this is where I wonder, though. I just got to say, I wonder what would happen with him as far as, like, trucker laws go. Because you could definitely wrap a car. I don't know if you could stick a hat on it. I know you're allowed to wrap them. I don't know if you're allowed to do this for semis.
Could you imagine Fred the Felon driving around on a big, massive truck that says Yang 2020 on it, Truckers for Yang, with a straight up math hat?
Well, hold on.
Or a pink vaporwave hat.
The pink hat would be cool. No, but hold on. You have trouble moving your regular raised trucker. Imagine a semi-truck with a hat on. I think the clearance would just get out of control at a certain point.
He'll have to use the extra $1,000 that GoFundMe gave him just to pay for the gas, because he'll be burning more fossil fuels because of how inefficient the hat makes him.
How about this, though? How about this, right? That would also mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not a physics guy, wouldn't that mean that other trucks would be lining up to draft behind him because he's blocking so much of the wind? So as long in the back he has a big Andrew Yang thing on the back, it could be like a way to get all the truckers following him.
Actually, have you noticed those metal kind of fold up metal sheets that have the shocks on them on the back of some trucks when you're driving on the freeway? Those are actually so they draft themselves and supposedly increase 3 to 5% fuel efficiency.
Wow.
And so I only know this because my father worked for a long time for Cummins Diesel, the people that actually make all the diesel engines for a large volume of the trucks that travel up and down the coast. And I remember when those came out, how there was kind of hullabaloo about whether or not it would work. And the other thing that intrigues me about these trucks, I know this is a little bit of a rabbit hole, but do you know how many cylinders are in those trucks?
36.
No, you'd think it'd be some massive number because we're used to
4.
V8s. No, 6.
Oh.
On average, they're an inline 6. Now, granted, The
huge.
cylinders are like coffee cans.
Yeah, they're huge.
You know what I'm saying? They're massive. All right. But they're actually, on average, only a 6-cylinder diesel that has a standard suck, squeeze, boom, bang cycle. So anyway, you got far too much information about the trekking industry than you ever need. But
Well, one thing I actually that's kind of interesting just for a second here at the end.
okay.
Talking about what we were just talking about, I wonder, once they're no longer designing these trucks to be driven by human beings anymore, what kind of other weird innovations and goofy stuff are they going to do? Like,
Do you know what I think?
They're gonna do everything to cut efficiencies by percentages, right? Like, what are they going to do? Or, hold on, the other thing, if they are electric powered, does wind resistance matter as much for efficiency? I don't know.
Well, you're always
I'd
going to
assume
want
yes, but I don't know.
You're always going to want the efficiency of the charge, because instead of having a liquid fuel, you're going to have a charging fuel, which still is demonstrative of power somewhere that you're paying for. So efficiency will always be an issue, but there's two things I look forward to. First off, size. You don't need the living quarters in that bed in the back that they can sleep in, and you really don't even need a cabin that can have a human being's knees and head. Like, think how much smaller trucks can all of a sudden get. Okay, so I would envision them getting slightly smaller, okay, and maybe even a little bit wider or taller, because a machine will be able to calculate for all of those differences than the standardized sizes that we're all used to. And then the second thing that I also look forward to is speed. If all of a sudden AI is proven to be much better and faster at manufacturing something, the assembly line speeds up. I mean, when guys were manufacturing cars, okay, piece by piece before Henry Ford actually invented the assembly line, it was a very slow process. But once he'd proven after 2 or 3 years that, hey, look, an individual can take 3 seconds to tighten a bolt, then we can actually really speed this assembly line up. We could go. I could see there being toll roads specifically for AI vehicles. I could see it proving driver assist in new vehicles, okay? And if we really got around to it, hopefully we could shed some of these low speed limits that we have. Adam Carolla's talked about this a lot. I mean, the 45 mile per hour speed limit that's off of Barham Boulevard down here was put there because it was a slightly windy road. And back in the 40s or the 50s, I think the legislation happened in the 60s for the city, but like back in the 60s, when they were worried about speed limits, braking technology wasn't very good. It's actually not because of the speed of the vehicle, but its ability to slow down and control itself. So in the 60s, when they're, developing all of these speed limit laws, they were really worried about like the 1963 Volkswagen Beetle not being able to stop fast enough if it had to come around a blind curve and there was somebody stopped or parked there, right? Well, now that our braking technology has gotten so better, we've got ABS braking, we've got, driver assist braking, we've got the scanning braking, so that even if you're looking down at your cell phone, it stops the car for you. With all of that new technology, I could see, if our legislators actually get on board, us finally shedding a lot of these stupid rules where if you're out in the middle of the highway in Wyoming and you can see a mile straight in every direction where there's nothing, that you can't go more than 60 miles per hour.
Well, some of them are faster, right?
Yeah, like you can get
I've seen 80s and stuff.
You can get as high as 80 miles per hour in Montana. There are 75 mile per hour speed limits in between Los Angeles and Vegas. But by and large, in most urban areas, you only have a max of 65 on the highways here. And in Oregon, it's brutal. You know what the maximum speed limit in the entire state of Oregon and Hawaii is?
Hawaii's got to have something up there pretty quick, 55, 60. They got some highways.
No, it's 55.
Yeah,
In the
55.
entire,
okay.
So you're going max 55. Like cheetahs almost run that fast. All right, you could not run a cheetah. So anyway, no, actually, I think cheetahs are like somewhere in the mid 30s, if I'm not mistaken.
No, there's an animal that gets up to 60.
What'd you say?
There's an animal that gets up to 60.
Oh, I'm sure there's an animal. I don't know if it's a cheetah. We'll have to fact check that. So anyway, let us know what you guys think about Fred the Felon's awesome project. I mean, that's about as big as a little guy doing a grassroots movement can do, putting a freaking poster on the side of a trailer.
Again, I want to highlight this as well. I'll make sure it doesn't get lost. $8,000 raised in 12 hours. I get it's not $100,000 in 5 minutes, but I mean, like the Yang Gang, online especially, comes out always. And here's another example. I mean, this was an idea put on GoFundMe that was funded in less than 12 hours or at 12 hours. So I think that's the coolest thing to me about this is how fast it moves.
Yeah, that's the responsiveness of the Yang Gang right there. Anyway, please let us know what you guys think about his project. Let us know what you guys think about other large-scale grassroots things that can get done. I'm going to contact Fred and see if we can't put a hat on his truck. I think that would be totally awesome. Maybe one that comes down when he's not driving, make a convertible or something. Anyway, if you haven't liked this video, please like. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. If you haven't commented yet, please comment. Let us know what you guys are thinking and share with your friends, because independent political talk and analysis is deprioritized by the Google algorithms now. We need your help to share and spread the love. This is Problem Solver Politics. See you guys in the next video.